everybody. Welcome to Copy This, Not That with Christa Nichols, where I bring on a digital marketing expert from all different kinds of industries, and we talk about how freelance copy can help optimize and upgrade the results that they get for their clients, that you get for your clients, and that you get for yourself. So today's guest is Kelly Sturdivant. She is a Facebook ad strategist and coach, and she's going to talk to us today about the role that copy plays in Facebook ads and how freelance copywriters can use that as a way to generate leads, as a way to generate clients and contracts, and as a way to get better results for their own ads. So welcome, Kelly.
Good morning.
Good morning. So Kelly and I have known each other for 4 or 5 years, I suppose. And I have been able to see some of the amazing results she's gotten from her campaigns. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, and we'll just dive right in.
For sure. I started my business about 5 years ago. I actually started as a social media manager, like I think a lot of us in marketing did. Started off at. It seemed to encompass everything. And then over time, like yourself, I kind of found I had a passion for something other than managing social media, and ads just kind of came like just easy for me. It really was something that I was able to click really quickly. And so over the last 3 years, I've transitioned mainly into Facebook ad management for 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs, as well as started to coach small business owners and social media managers how to run ads and continue to upkeep the skill as well. So that's kind of what I'm at.
We actually tend to work with a lot of the same types of clients, although we provide different services to them, which is a lot of fun. We've actually worked together on some different campaigns and with some different clients, and that's always a really good time. So tell me, why Facebook ads? So there's lots of different, not lots, but there's a good number of different ad platforms and ways that people can pay to get themselves in front of their target audiences. Why do you love Facebook ads? Why do you love to hate Facebook ads? Like, maybe I should.
I think that's the question. Yeah. For me, I just kind of understood how that news feed worked. I kind of like, it just seemed to be more of a, you had to get in front of people that were non-aware, essentially. And I like that aspect. Whereas like Google or YouTube, a lot of times people are actually searching for specific things. And I am just not good with SEO type of work. I never have been. I like it. Even back in my old blogging days, it's a skill set. I just don't, it's struggle for me to figure out. So that coupled with like Google is very, very deep into analytics and whatnot. It just wasn't something that brought me passion and joy. It didn't make this fit for me. I loved what Facebook was doing with their feed, that they were able to, you could do both video and graphics without much concern. I spent majority of my time on Facebook. So for me, it just made more sense in that realm.
Yeah. I do think that up until, TikTok ads and YouTube ads got a little more popular, Facebook was the only like personalized way that you could reach out and pay to get in front of the right people. Whereas a lot, like you said, for the ones that are search engine driven, it's a different story. And there's also limitations as far as how that can show up. So I agree. The ability to target too, I really like about Facebook ads, because that can really open up doors for you to be able to get in front of people in ways that some of the other platforms don't have.
Right. Yeah.
So tell me, when it comes to Facebook ad copy, give me the top 3 things that freelance copywriters need to know about Facebook ads when it comes to ad copy.
Well, the first
right on the spot. I'll put you right there.
Gotta put on my thinking brain this morning. The first one is Facebook is very much a platform where you cannot use personal attributes. So a lot of industries, health and wellness is one of the biggest ones that really struggles with this, because obviously health and wellness is all about pointing out your flaws a lot of times. Like you want a before and after, you want to lose 10 pounds, you want to have clear skin, whatever the case may be. And Facebook doesn't allow you to do that in advertising, because their whole purpose is they want their customers to be happy and to be pleased and whatnot. And when you've seen ads that are pointing out your flaws, you're going to have a negative experience. So Facebook really doesn't like that, and you can't do that. So anything in a personal attribute. So you can't say, you can't point out certain mental health illnesses or diseases, or whether you want to lose 10 or 20 pounds, or sometimes even things like frustration, overwhelm, stress, and all that have to be phrased in certain ways in order to not be you. And there's a bit of finesse that has to go into that. The second one is there's always been a lot of flack around the word you or you are. And a lot of advertisers were saying, you can't use the word you in Facebook ads. You can, absolutely. I've done it many times. However, when the ad copy reads nothing like you,
yeah,
again, that's something Facebook really, really doesn't like. So anytime I come across Facebook ad like that, really look at how you can rephrase it so it is your client or your own results, or Mary down the street or whatnot, and not just always you. And the third one for me really is sometimes being as simplistic as possible is really what brings home the results. Like, I don't know about you, and I know we've seen numerous types of ad copy or whatnot, but me as a consumer, I like short and sweet ad copy. Like, just get to the point, tell me what you're after, and get off my page. When I see a wall of text that's 4 kilometers long, I'm just like, wait, do I need all of this for a free webinar? Like, I don't think so. So it's really understanding who your audience is, what that ad copy can look like for them, what the objective is, and really place your ad copy into that mindset. If it's a cold audience, a lot of times short copy works a lot better. If it's warmer and we've got a bigger purchase or a bigger sale, sometimes we need a lot more copy in that one. So.
Yeah. And really the only way you can know is to test.
Yes.
So I find I do a lot of coaching inside entrepreneur groups with people, and like as you do, who want to run Facebook ads, or they've done it before, it hasn't gone that great. They're kind of new at it. They're not sure what to do. And they're tempted to write one piece of ad copy and then just go with it. And if it doesn't work, then what happens? You know what I mean? It like crushes their hopes and dreams. So I always say, always be testing, right? Always be testing short copy, long copy, different hooks, different angles. Yeah. And speaking of hooks, let's talk a little bit about hooks. How important is the hook when it comes to ad copy?
Oh my gosh. Hooks are really important. If you've ever seen a Facebook ad, you know that there's like 2 sentences, if you're lucky, 2 lines of text before that dreaded see more button comes up on the ad. So in that two lines or whatnot, you have to be able to hook your audience in enough to get them to hit see more and want to continue reading that ad. That is first and foremost on anything. So really the fastest way, as we talk about in terms of testing, is changing that 2 lines. And that will allow you to see what is allowing click-throughs into the rest of the ad, what is obviously making conversions or whatnot. So one of the biggest skills to really learn, and to be honest, it's one that I'm still learning every single day, because hooks is a hard skill to learn, is creating hooks. So I'll often just sit with paper and write two sentences for certain things, just to try to keep my brain going and thinking of outside of the box ways that we can try to retarget those people.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I counted. It's 125 characters. You get 125 characters before the see more. So, yeah, when I sit down, I do the same thing. I brainstorm multiple hooks, and I see how many different ways, well, not how many different ways, but how many compelling ways can I create a hook with 125 characters.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is tough. It's not easy. I started sales copy with Facebook ads. That was my I did it backwards. So most people will start with sales copy with emails, or they'll start with a funnel or something like that. Nah, I just went straight for the paid traffic. Why not, right? And you learn real fast when you're dealing with other people's money, what works
Absolutely.
and what doesn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
so you do a lot of coaching of business owners and entrepreneurs as well, for those who maybe don't have the budget or aren't ready to hire someone with your level of expertise.
Mhm.
How do you approach copy with them? What are some of the things that you tell those business owners and entrepreneurs about ad copy that will help them get a good start?
So I'm very much like you. We do a lot of testing. So oftentimes I'll have people in my community who will say, like, this is not working. I'm not getting results. And we usually run through a couple things. First is always your image. So what can we change in the image? Because that's the first thing a lot of people will see in an ad is the image. After that, copy becomes second nature. So we get back to, okay, what can we change in that hook in order to see if we can get more people through? How can we change the voice in an ad? So instead of being in third person or whatnot, we've oftentimes looked at ways how we can bring it back to us. So if it's like a coach or someone in the online community or whatnot, how can we talk about our journey to whatever, the results we're looking for? And what are those small tweaks that can be done? Because oftentimes we don't need to rewrite the entire copy. Right. A lot of times, and I think you've talked about it numerous times before, like you sometimes just need to change a sentence here or there, or rephrase how things are looking in order to test out all those multiple hooks. And for me, because we are encompassing all of ads in what I coach, we look at what is the fastest way to make changes and be able to track those results as quickly as possible. So we keep it simple. Don't dive into too deep with those, because a lot of times too, the people in my community, we're dealing with small budgets, we're dealing with small offers or, unproven offers a lot of times. So we don't want to have to add too many layers to that testing machine because they don't have the budget to be able to do that. But with larger ones, we get a lot of fun when we get larger ones.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And it's so true. We have to remember that when you're first getting started, when you have a client who has a smaller budget, you're not going to be able to chop it up into those deep, deep granular things that you see the people who are spending 6 figures a month on ads do. They can test the color of the text on the image, right? All the way down to, each individual little thing. Whereas when you're starting with smaller budgets, you're looking for what will grab attention fast and help them start getting results, and then small changes from there, because you want to help that happen as quickly as possible for them. And without a huge budget, you're just chopping up pennies trying to have that much variation for them.
I like that phrase, chopping up pennies. That's exactly it.
Yeah, super slow. Yes, you can do that, but it's slow if you don't have enough budget to run at a time, if you're splitting it up into so many different ad sets. So yeah, totally. So tell me, what are some of the biggest common mistakes you see? Obviously we've talked about targeting interests. What are some of the other, even like formatting type things that you see that will keep ad copy from performing up to its full potential?
Thankfully, there isn't a ton, but some simple changes in your ad copy do make a big difference. The first one being, a lot of people will use caps to tell whatever, big features they have. You can use caps, but if you're using caps in more than like a little bit of a phrase or a little bit of a sentence, then you're essentially shouting at people. And again, like, we don't like when people text you with caps. It's same thing with an ad. You really can't you can't use that as a way to enunciate certain things. So keeping caps to a minimum is usually really good in any ad copy. The personal attributes, which we talked about, that's kind of one of the biggest ones I see. Is a lot of advertisers will do a lot of you pointing, which is not easy, and Facebook actually can kill your reach on those. So you're paying to get in front of people that Facebook is like not doing your job for.
Right.
And I think for me, one of the biggest things is formatting in terms of your ad itself. people don't like to see a wall of text, as we've talked about. So even if you have long copy, you really need to kind of break it up into chunks. We read, you know, we kind of skim over big parts. So if all they see is this paragraph of text this big, you've lost them before they even got to the first sentence. Like there's no way around it. Yeah. I like too when I see ads that have a story sometimes to it. So sorry. A lot of times, you know, we kind of get that professional vibe when it comes to your ad copy. It's like, it's very, very corporate, very sterile type of copy. But I love seeing ads, especially for personal brands or, you know, people who are in the coaching space or whatnot, and they're the face of their business, like really talking about who you are and what your results are, or your journey and your frustrations. And that allows you to get by a lot of the issues that we have with personal attributes in ads, obviously. Yeah. And I know you, like, that's one of your favorite types of copy to write is that story-based thing and whatnot. I like, it's one that I thankfully haven't done a lot of, because storytelling is sometimes tricky for people when you're not used to being in someone's head. But I love being able to do that for myself and to be to kind of step out and do that more. And in terms of ads, really, a lot of times, don't overthink it. Like, if you think the ad copy really needs to be 3 sentences and you're done, like, go with it. Don't stress over, oh my God, my competition is writing a novel of text, therefore I must do the same. Like, you won't know until you actually get in there and test it out. And majority of people don't like wall of text a lot of times. So
right. Yeah. And I'll have coaching members come in and ask, you know, can you look at my ad copy? And sometimes it's like they want to go through every word because they want it to be perfect, you know? And I tell them the same thing. Like, if you get it to a point where you're like, yes, this clearly communicates what I want it to say, just go, you know, go live with it and see what happens. You could spend days editing and retweaking a single phrase. Is it better this way or this way? Well, does it say what it needs to say? Yes. Good. Then go. Like, send it, you know, find out.
I think, like most entrepreneurs, we feel like you have to be perfect at everything. And there's no such thing. There really isn't. And copy is kind of one of those things where you get to be and do and say whatever you want to say and test out all of the different avenues that come to it. And when you can really look at products and services in a different light and to be able to write that way, man, that's just like, it opens up so many more doors for copywriters to be able to express, you know, not only emotion, but thoughts and feelings and stressors and all that, just by writing differently.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So how important is the ad headline? So that little piece of text that on desktop, it appears under the image. Like, I always go back and forth with myself on that, because I feel like the most important piece of the ad copy is the hook, that 125 characters that's right at the top. But also, depending on where the ad's going to be viewed, the headline might be the first thing that people really see. Like, if it's an ad, like a product ad on the sidebar, or if it even on mobile sometimes. So how do you treat the headline? Like, what level of importance do you give? And do you pay attention to the 25 character mobile view limit or not?
I have mixed feelings sometimes. I think like you, it really depends industry to industry. Things like e-commerce, I think the headline can be a little bit more important, especially if you're running like carousel ads or anything like that, where you can specify within each individual picture. I think the headline obviously makes a bigger difference. I've often tested 0 headlines. So whatever's on the landing page automatically populates. And sometimes I'm just like, you know what, let's just see what happens. And oftentimes the results are more or less the same.
Yeah.
Now, again, I work with a lot of online coaches in that space. So I feel like people are more apt to what the image is, and then that headline, or pardon me, that hook rather than the headline. But I think for things that have a deadline, so if you have a live webinar or you have a live training, ticketed events, I think that headline really comes in handy. But I think like
a logo or a special or
something free shipping, whatever those cases are. I think that helps just to kind of reiterate, what the overarching goal is of the ad. But I think for basic things like lead magnets or messenger ads or that basic generation or even just a basic traffic ad, I don't think it's that critical that I would rather someone spend time on that hook rather than on the headline.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that too. And I tend to keep my headlines short because most ads are viewed on mobile. And so they wouldn't see a super, super long one. And that's a change for me. When I first started, headlines were longer. There were more like emojis in them, and that you'll still see some of that, but that has changed over time as things have gone more and more mobile as far as, so just being conscious of where is your audience viewing from? Are they sitting at home on their laptop? Probably not. They're probably sitting on their couch with their iPhone,
Facebook,
so what they see is
Facebook has actually they've actually been testing placements of their copy. So if you don't turn it off the feature, unfortunately, a lot of people don't know this, but there's a feature now in the ads where it will take what's called standard enhancements. And when you click on that, it tells Facebook you're allowed to mix up the order of everything. So if you have a headline, that headline could become the body of your ad. Or if you have a body, it can become part of the headline. Like it's insane the things you test. Oh my God. I'm not sure I like it at all. So far I've been turning it off. And I'm still not quite sure why Facebook is doing that because
are they is it AI? Like they're trying to use,
I don't know. But when you look at it, like we spend a lot of time figuring out what that hook is, what that body of the ad is. Like it's designed this way in a purpose. Like why would I want that hook to become my headline or my headline to become the body?
So strange.
So I haven't figured it out yet, but there are things like that Facebook is testing. So it then opens up the question, how important are these things really if Facebook is now allowing you to mix and match? So we'll see what happens with it. So
yeah, that's a really good question. All right, so we're getting towards the end, but I do want to talk about this time of year. So we're getting to the point where Christmas is almost here. We're going to be moving past the new year. As people who write for ads, what happens when the new year turns over? Are we still in a super highly competitive market for ad space? I know that a lot of our clients are like gearing up for the new year. They're like, we're getting ready to launch stuff. We're making goals. So obviously there's people are kind of getting ready to vacation for the next week. But then after that, a lot of times we see a lot of pickup in terms of, clients needing work or people reaching out, so showing up, being visible. But what happens in the ad space? Are there any challenges that we can help our clients be aware of that would really kind of help them get better results as we work into the new year?
This year's actually been quite different than previous years. And I'm not sure if it's because, globally we're coming into a recession. We know this is happening. So people have already started to make transitions in their lives and their business for that. That could be a factor. It could be, especially in like e-commerce or whatnot, where logistics are still a bit of an issue that people aren't getting stock in. So they obviously can't advertise the same. Or whether it's just companies have left Facebook in droves for testing out TikTok and YouTube and all the other platforms for ads. But I've noticed in the last 6 weeks, like usually from American Thanksgiving all the way through till now, ads are very, very expensive for businesses because there's just so much competition for people to advertise for Christmas. But this year it's actually been my clients are getting results that we've never seen before. Like,
that's amazing.
It's ridiculous. Like, seriously, I'm looking, I'm like, what's going on here? This is not okay. Like, you're prepping for, essentially you're prepping your clients for higher ad costs or less results that are happening. And all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, it's like, we're still getting really, really good results. Now that varies, because I do have clients where our costs are slowly increasing depending on what it is. But really just focusing in on, even though competition can be very, very heavy at this time of year, you still need to be visible. You still need to market. You still need to get in front. And if you're not doing it now, then it means you are 6 weeks behind everybody else come January 2, when everyone else is getting back into swing of things. You could have already been leveraging all of this time to build your audiences, no matter how big or small of them are, so that you could really hit the ground running come January. So for me, I always tell clients, like, if you are serious about advertising, you need to be running all the time, no matter what, even if that's just straight email acquisition ads or lead generation or even video view campaigns. Just continue that brand awareness to build before you get there. Come January, sometimes we see a shift where certain industries will obviously be a lot cheaper. Obviously, e-commerce will kind of reverse a little bit, because the pressure of Christmas is off. So now they can take time and focus out whatever their new campaigns are, whatever new products they have or whatnot. But in the coaching space, like, a lot of people, January is kind of a big time to start running those webinars and start running the new me, new year, new me stuff. So a lot of times, like, you really have had to have used this time before the new year to build in order to have better success coming into January. Otherwise, you basically have to come into it going, all right, well, we're starting from ground zero. What do we need to do to build that audience now and continue forward from there? So sometimes ad costs are the same, sometimes a little bit less, but generally you've leveraged what your time was ahead of time in order to build that for January.
Yeah, it's so important. And I love what you said. Like, if you're not consistently showing up, you're behind by the time you actually want to be getting traction. I've got stuff coming up this year, and I'm working on, the traffic now, because I know that showing up more now is going to help prime my audience and the algorithm for what I need it to do.
Exactly.
The second week of January or whatever. So good morning. I see more people hopping in. So I know my screen is frozen a couple of times. It is so windy here. We're in a ground blizzard, but we're nicely tucked in here at home. And Kelly says it's colder than cold where she is, but she did. Yes. Heather wants to know if you made it back to the snowy tundra.
I did, for sure. I know Megan is still in transit. I think she's in Phoenix right now. So.
Oh, well, she's working her way towards what a rude awakening. So Kelly and some other friends of ours were in Hawaii for a little while this December, which sounds like an amazing idea right about now.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Kelly. I could sit and talk Facebook ads and traffic, and she's in. It's Megan. Is it you? It's you. Hello. It's like a reunion. I love it. I love it. So yes, but thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your ads expertise, and I love that State of the Union with Facebook ads. It's fascinating that it's been different this year than normal. And some people, those who showed up and really used it, wide open opportunity for them. So really I love that. Well, Merry Christmas, and Merry Christmas everyone who's watching on the replay or in the YouTube channel. I love bringing these to you. Keep an eye out for next week. We have another guest coming in. I believe it's the Visibility Queen, which is super fun, which is something we all need to be focusing on, is our visibility. So we will see you after the holiday. Stay warm, everyone, and have a very Merry Christmas. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks.